Oh, wait, I'm going to do the song this time. We'll be right back.
Ooh.
Like that?
Yeah, that was close. Like 2 more times than that, but that's fine.
Oh, you said 2 more?
I did. I said 2 times, but I meant 4. But hey, thanks for finding the geek spot, everybody.
Whew. Sorry we're late. Jack was out getting bottled water.
Yes, I don't need bottled water. Well, I'm a little. I was watching Dom's review and enjoying it, so I was hung up.
I watched that earlier today. I have a ring light on up there. Look, it's brighter here.
I see all the brightness.
Like
Wearing my Ravens hat to lament whatever's going to happen to Lamar Jackson in the next 48 hours.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, he's been hurt for like 3 years anyway. It's fine.
Yeah, he's gonna get Aaron Nola money.
Yeah, look, it's. I feel like it's similar to being upset that Carson Wentz gets hurt and goes out and then left the team. So,
Who?
feel like I'll be all right.
Who?
Oh, I've heard the Pats. I've heard the Falcons. I've heard.
I don't even know who that is.
The Colts. I've heard so many.
But anyway,
so many choices.
Welcome to the show tonight.
Ravens talk. No, not Ravens talk.
No.
Oh,
no.
Got it.
If you are a first time listener, make sure you go to the YouTube page, subscribe, like, comment. Go to the Facebook page, same thing. Go to the podcast page, same thing. I never say that stuff.
You don't. We usually save that till the end when everybody's already done and checked out because we talked about something they hadn't seen yet. But that's okay.
Right. I want to get the tens of listeners in the beginning to bookend the tens of listeners at the end.
That tracks.
Someone once asked me how popular our podcast was, and I said literally that. We have tens of listeners. And he laughed, and he went, "What do you mean?" And I went, "Break down the number tens. That's where we're at." And I did. I actually did use tags and did you look at the Facebook, the Instagram ad by any chance?
There's music, right?
Right. I tagged a band of a good friend of ours who sometimes pops in the show. Their band just dropped a new single called, a new video for Fix What's Broken by a band called Gears. Our friend Jimmy Wooten is the drummer. And when I looked at the music thing, I went, you know what? Let me see if there's any Gears. It was there. So I took a little snippet of their song and threw it in our ad.
Yeah, he enjoys coming in and talking about the multiverse of trash.
He does. He enjoys coming in, dropping some knowledge, and then leaving. But how's your week been?
It's good. Pete, Charles, good to see you guys too.
Hey.
It was good. It was busy gigs, and other gigs, and caught up on some stuff. But yeah, I was at where was I? The W Tavern last Thursday, and I don't even remember where I was Friday. Oh, Chambers 19 on Friday, out in Doylestown.
Okay.
So yeah, those were fun. Saturday just had like a catch up kind of day. Finished up Shrinking.
Shrinking.
Managed to beat Hogwarts Legacy last week.
Final.
Not 100%ing everything, but the most disappointing story end of any game I've ever played in my life. It was really? Just like, hey, you're done. Here's nothing for what you've accomplished.
Right. I didn't want to say anything to you.
On with everything else.
The player base has completely nosedived, obviously, because there's nothing left to do except try and 100% the game. And for a completionist such as myself, no.
No, I've noticed there's people that have put like 140 hours plus of game time in and still not 100%ed it.
No, I usually try to 100% the Lego games. But even with the Skywalker one, I was like, the Skywalker saga, I tapped out. There's too much.
Yeah, I was close on the Batman Beyond or Batman Frontier or the Space Batman one.
I did that one fully.
Yeah, I was at like 96%, and then I think I switched consoles and was like, well, I guess I'm not doing this. But did all that. Took the kids down to see their grandmother yesterday. Her birthday's coming up tomorrow.
Oh, nice. Happy early birthday.
Yeah. So that was it for me, though. Nothing too crazy. Soccer started back up for the one kid, so I'll be back in full soccer excitement every weekend. How about you, man? What were you up to?
Zero.
All
So
right.
nothing.
You
E-
watched all the shows and
I
all the movies, and you're all caught up.
I caught up on every show and every movie that I have already seen. Um,
That all sounds like it checks out.
no, I know I mentioned earlier before I excuse me, I disassembled the Lego Millennium Falcon. It has 7,500 pieces. I completely disassembled it, spread it out all over the table, separated them. It took me 3, almost 4 days to do. Because when I went to move it, I realized that it was not as sturdy as it should. And I was so anxious when I built it first that I just kind of rushed through it. And I skipped over some parts, it looks like. And I didn't put some pieces in the right place. And if you don't put a piece in right here, when you come back around to the frame, 400 steps later and shit doesn't fit, well, now you have a problem.
Then you just use the Craggle.
What's the little piece that they give you? Is that
No,
what it's called?
no.
Oh, what's the Craggle?
Have you not seen the Lego movie?
It's been a while.
We're gonna
Have,
pause.
it's been a
We're
while.
gonna pause so Frank can go watch the Lego movie
Oh.
and learn about the Craggle.
Yes. And we're back.
It was great.
But,
It's like you never left.
yeah. No, so I started over again, and I'm about a quarter of the way through it now, and now it's really, really I see where I made a lot of mistakes before.
Oh, got it.
Pieces that had fallen off are not falling off, and yeah, it's pretty good. That was the majority. I didn't go out this weekend. I didn't go out last weekend. I'm going to break that streak this coming weekend, though. WrestleMania is coming up. Maybe I'll mention something about that later on.
Oh, I bet something will happen there. Somebody will wrestle somebody.
There
maybe.
There will be some surprises. There will be some things that you knew were going to happen. There will be things that you didn't know were going to happen. It's WrestleMania.
Got it. It sounds really exciting for all the wrestling fans.
Actually, it is. It's the penultimate. No. Penultimate's before ultimate, right?
I just want to say that all of our listeners appreciated how good that Craggle joke was and how quick it was.
I appreciate your Craggle joke.
You don't know what it is still.
I forget. Anyway, yes. No, it's a big deal because next year at this time, WrestleMania will be in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. WrestleMania next year will be in Philadelphia at the Link. It's going to be a big extravaganza. All of the wrestling people will be in town to see Jack do acoustic gigs all over the tri-state area.
Oh, do I have gigs next weekend?
Not next weekend, next year.
Oh, next year. Sure. I'll do gigs next year. That sounds good.
Learn wrestling entrance themes.
Got it.
Pull some of them off.
They just need to play more that I know.
Do the Cody Rhodes one.
Then we'll be covered.
Yes. But no, other than that, I really, low key, it's, not doing much.
Got it.
I did watch stuff, but nothing.
Did you? Well, we'll talk about that later because I'm sure it's things that we usually watch.
Oh, yeah. I actually didn't add that in. So the big thing that we should start off with is Jonathan Majors.
Oh, yeah, this is
Well, so it is and it isn't, right? So Jonathan Majors, for those of you who don't know, he is the centerpiece of the entire next phase of Marvel movies. Like, he is dead set in the middle of all of this.
A little bit
revolves around him. So when the news broke the other day that he was arrested for allegedly assaulting a lady, the internet went right to his defense, thinking,
Well, yeah.
So, according to this article on BuzzFeed News, and they're very reliable, the woman who accused him has taken back her allegations. She was having an episode.
Oh.
Yes. She was having an episode.
Okay.
Oh, now I know what it is.
We'll see how that pans out.
So at the moment, now the U.S. Army did pull all of its ads with Jonathan Majors.
Yes.
So that's a bad thing, like very bad thing.
Well, but they said while the investigation is taking place, like they're not like we no longer support Jonathan Majors. They're like, let's see what happened.
Right. So Majors is 33, and he was arrested after a domestic dispute that happened in the Chelsea neighborhood in New York. A 30-year-old woman was taken to a hospital with minor injuries to her head and neck. Majors was taken into custody without incident, and the woman told officers that she had been assaulted. The woman's name is that's her the lawyer's name. According to the to Major's lawyer, video evidence of the incident, which occurred within a vehicle, and testimony from witnesses will prove the actor's innocence. The woman allegedly also took back her accusation of assault in written statements. She was apparently having an emotional crisis for which she was taken to a hospital yesterday. We'll see.
I don't know, that sounds like some comic book written stuff.
It really does. It really does. I honestly hope. Pete, I don't know what an episode, a mental episode, possibly. I don't know. Maybe it was, as Don said, maybe it was Ezra Miller dressed up as Jonathan Majors. It's possible. We don't know.
It's tough to say, right? Right? Who knows what could have happened there, and
Exactly.
as we get more details, we'll go from there. I hope it works out, but
So
with
do
the
I.
internet jumping to his defense, the internet has jumped to the defense of stupider things before that it should not comment on.
Yes, it has. Yes. There's been plenty of situations.
And it gets very toxic very quick, especially when you're talking about like, oh, let's defend this guy because
Mm,
women are out to get him,
yes.
as seen in the Depp Heard trial.
Yes. Um, According to Entertainment Weekly, a production horse died on the set of The Lord of the Rings season 2. So the horse died of a cardiac failure, though showed no signs of health issues before dying. PETA has now come out and basically wants all horses removed from this show and any other horse live anywhere
Yeah,
ever.
they want him to use magnets and CGI because that'll look better and
Mm-hmm.
be safer for the horses.
Right.
Yeah, I saw this. I don't think that's a great idea.
I know.
One thing, what we're ignoring here is, so what do you do with all the horses that this is how they make a living now?
Correct.
There's I'm sure there are horses bred specifically for these things. So now you just don't have those horses anymore.
Right.
So, and I'm sure for the most part, they're probably treated fairly well because there are all those restrictions and regulations and all those things in place. So I would think that they're probably treated pretty well.
Yeah.
As far as horses go, where they actually get to do a lot of exercise and get some open fields and things like that, and aren't kept in pens and all that good stuff all the
And I
time.
know some of the more uh what's the word I'm looking for? I know some of the more dangerous stunts are not horses, as we saw in those behind the scenes in Last of Us. The scene where she gets shot off, the
Mhm.
horse, the scene where they were riding, they're not real horses. They're cut like, uh,
Yeah, mostly it's just regular riding. Like that's when they'll use a real horse. They don't use, I'm sure your favorite show, Yellowstone,
oh yes.
is probably all real horses. But I doubt that Rip has actually had to shoot 3 horses that have gone down.
I don't think he has, though he has done it off camera, so you never know.
Every season he has to shoot at least 1 horse. It's in his contract.
Well, right now there's no filming, so there's no horses dying, so we're okay
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I did see an article that referenced there was a TV show, Luck. I don't know if you remember this. I believe it was on Showtime for 1 season about 12, 13 years ago.
Bottled water.
Where it's a good. Well, you have till 11:59 before you got to do that wrap, so I wouldn't waste it. But you do you. So but that show had multiple horses die while it was filming, and it was about like the Sea Biscuit racetrack kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that show went off the air after a year because of all the liability that they incurred that quickly.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, plus PETA just should shut up. That's really all I have to say about PETA.
Well, look, whenever they can get a speaker to yell into.
Yeah. Big movie this weekend opened up.
I
have not seen yet.
No. What movie opened up this week?
John Wick.
Oh, look at that.
So I'm gonna take you through the John Wick movies, not the plot, just the money.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody relax. So the original John Wick in 2014 opened to a $14 million weekend. Okay. It's nice. Not bad.
Yeah.
Its sequel, John Wick 2, took in 30.4 million in 2017.
Yeah.
And in 2019, Chapter 3 Parabellum marked a series high with 56.8 million.
Was that long ago?
Yeah.
Wow.
John Wick Chapter 4. I still have not seen 3, by the way.
I'm not surprised.
No. John Wick Chapter 4 opened with $73.5 million in its first weekend.
Yeah, look, it's an example that streaming can actually translate back into box office money.
Yep.
And just making good popcorn movies that don't have to tie into. You don't have to have seen 100 movies. I don't think you even had to have seen another John Wick to enjoy any of these, because you get most of a recap in the first 5 minutes. Like,
Right.
oh my god, not the dog.
Right.
Oh, that's why. Okay, and then it just goes from there. Now, quick question.
Yeah.
So that's in its first weekend, right?
Mhm.
Is there any other movies that already made more than?
So I'll give you the list. I'll give you a rundown of the top movies, and when I get to the third one, we'll talk about that. So, opening in first place this weekend was John Wick with 73.5 million, as we said.
Yeah.
In second place, Creed 3, 10.4 million, 140.9 total. In third place,
Yeah.
it's a DC tentpole movie, Shazam: Fury of the Gods, drew in $9.7 million.
Wow.
For a grand total of $46.3 million. There's some news on Shazam later on, but I'll give you the top, five? What was that? Three? Number 4 was Scream 6.
Okay.
8.4 brings it to 89.9, and the fifth movie this week was 65.
Oh, look at Ant-Man already being gone.
Ant-Man is number 6 with 2.4 million.
But
Cocaine
good for
Bear,
65, because I'm sure 65 was not cheap.
65 was 3.25 million and has a grand total of 27.8.
This is
Shazam,
domestic, though, right?
yeah. Well,
Okay.
it's a full list of box office. I'm looking on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
To note, Shazam pulled in 9 million on 4,000 plus screens.
Yeah.
That's a lot of screens.
It is.
That's not a lot of movie.
No. Shazam. I watched. I don't know if you ever. I've sent them to you on a regular basis, but the pitch meeting.
Yes, I see them on Screen Rant a lot. Yes.
And yeah, they already have one for Shazam 2. And so a lot of it was spoiled for me. And then everything else has been spoiled because Zachary Levi and everybody else have just posted all of it online, and the trolls have all come out attacking James Gunn and Dwayne Johnson and everything regarding that movie in every way, shape, or form to blame it.
Yeah.
Zachary Levi, I don't know if you saw, he even shot his shot on Twitter.
He did. He did. Like I said, I have a little bit of news about that later. There's a lot of behind the scenes shit going on still. And especially surrounding that movie and who should have and was supposed to be in it and who was not allowed in it thanks to certain people.
Yeah, even though I did notice already that I believe it's on HBO Max in just 2.5 weeks, so I'm just going to wait for that.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. As we mentioned at the top of the show, D&D, the Dungeons and Dragons movie came out, and Dom went to see it and did a review on his channel. And after I see it, he wants me to come and do a spoiler-filled review. I have a funny feeling, just based off his review, that you're going to enjoy it as a D&D player, and I'm going to really enjoy it as a D&D player. Getting some of the more intricacies of what they're showing and different monsters and spells and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think I've played D&D maybe a handful of times, but I'm a big fan of D&D.
I've played for 20 years.
Yeah. But I did a lot more of other RPGs in the day. But
I mean, my group, we stuck through second edition all the way through the pandemic. Like that,
Wow.
yeah, we never upgraded. We stayed second edition, THACO charts, and yes,
Very nice.
yeah. We talked about moving to oh crap, Pete'll remind me what the other platform is. Pathfinder, maybe.
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah, I think Pathfinder. There you go. Don wants us both to come
Oh,
on.
all right. We'll see if I can. I'll see if I can squeeze the movie in.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get to it maybe this week. We'll see. I actually have a lot going on this week, surprisingly.
Yeah. Did you got to put no? Falcon's not going to put itself back together.
Well, that too. But MLB The Show comes out. Well, it's officially out tomorrow, but I have the 4-day early access.
Oh, that's good for
Plus baseball Thursday. I mean, come on, man. It's my time of the year finally. I'm super excited.
I bet. I wish you all the best with your endeavors in baseball this year. I'll start watching again around September sometime.
Get you a ticket too. What am I made of money? Ghostbusters
Oh,
Afterlife 2.
yeah.
It has been revealed to have begun filming at the Firehouse
Okay.
with producer Jason Reitman and director Gil Keenan. This movie will include a reunion. 4 new actors just zipped in there. There's going to be an Eternals reunion.
Oh, yay!
Well,
Just what everybody's been clamoring for.
Kamal Nanjiani.
Yeah,
I got that right too.
you did.
Yeah, and Patton Oswalt have been cast.
Okay.
Did
we really cast Patton Oswalt in the new
Yes.
Ghostbusters movie? God
Yes.
damn it!
Fifth
I love him. I love him, but I don't need him in every bit of pop culture in my life.
Also boarding the project are James Acaster and Emily Allen Lind. I'm not sure who either of those people are. I did not do research beforehand.
Like, it's still weird to me that Pip the Troll happens to look just like
Patton Oswalt?
Eric Koenig
Oh.
and the Koenig brothers from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.,
Oh.
including the Koenig sister. And they both look remarkably like the original MODOK. It's weird.
Yeah?
They sound just like him, too.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Wonder how that happened.
I don't know. It's a lot of Patton Oswalt.
I'm trying to find these people real fast so I can see if James Acaster. Acaster? Let's see.
Pete would like to go see the D&D movie with you, Frank. You guys should set up some time together to talk about 5th edition and enjoy Chris Pine's dreamy blue eyes.
James Acaster was in nothing that I've ever seen.
Cool.
That's not saying much, but
cool. Well, maybe it's just a reunion of those two then. Yeah. I thought the Afterlife was fine. I have had zero reason to go rewatch it.
Same. Which is odd because I just started rewatching Maverick.
Not a surprise.
I know.
The TV show with James Garner.
Maverick?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a deep pull. Wow.
Or the '90s classic with Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson
and James Garner
and Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember on the riverboat.
You didn't expect that, did you? That
No.
deep pull. Yeah.
No, that was an incredibly deep pull.
It's one of my. I enjoyed that movie immensely before we weren't allowed to like Mel Gibson anymore.
Well, we're allowed to again.
Are we? Okay.
I think so. Because Lethal Weapon 4.
6?
5, whatever.
Yeah, okay.
But yes.
I thought it was because of Fat Man, because he did it, which I still have to see too.
Look, I was a big fan of the Mel Gibson audio tapes when they came out at first, okay? Let me just tell you that now.
Got it.
There's some good comedy there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Digging a hole. Where are we going?
Brie Larson. Wow, it just gets better.
Great. She was in a room once.
Her Fast X identity has been revealed. The character has been revealed.
Oh, I saw this. I have no idea what it meant, though.
Right. So her character's name is Tess. She's the daughter of Mr. Nobody, apparently.
Like the guy from the Doom Patrol show?
No.
By Alan Tudyk? Because he's Mr. Nobody.
No.
Oh.
Not that one.
You almost had me. I was almost in. I was like, oh, this is going to be a great crossover. Because then you get Brendan Fraser as Robot Man. And look,
She's the daughter of Jack Burton.
Got it.
Jack Burton played Mr. Nobody. What a tie-in that would be, huh?
That would have been if the Pork Chop Express was the end game of Fast 12 or whatever it's going to be.
Best tie-in ever. But yes, apparently her character has been revealed as the daughter of Mr. Nobody.
Got it. They just have to drive up the coast and they'll get to Big Trouble.
I mean, I'm all in. Maybe I'll go rewatch that tonight.
You should. They did a comic spinoff of that. I got to go find it. I think it was in Dark Horse did those.
Oh, really? God, it's still such a good movie. It doesn't really hold up, but it's such a good movie.
It holds up fine.
I love
green eyes. Look,
it's true. Kim Cattrall's actually in a show that I am watching.
Oh,
she's the mom in How I Met Your Father.
Oh, look at that. Yep, still never. Nope.
Circles around.
Good.
Barney Stinson's coming back mid-season finale. I'm not caught up yet, but I saw that ruined. So now it's ruined for you.
Whatever they can. I saw that he was coming back 3 months ago. It's fine.
Yeah. Real fast. Picard, season 3.
Yep.
God damn, this show's good. God, man, this show is really good. This, I'm not even going to get into the intricacies of this whole episode, but I will tell you, they did a monster Easter egg dive. So they went to the Daystrom Institute, which is this big floating space station, basically.
Okay.
That has all of Starfleet's black ops projects and stuff like that. Okay. And as Riker, Worf, and Raffi were going through it to find out, what the changeling stole from this, Riker kept hearing a tune being whistled, and he kept saying the notes, and it was, reminded him of something. And then he saw a crow flying, couldn't figure out what it was until Moriarty's hologram showed back up. Okay. So Moriarty's hologram is the security function in this space station, which is pretty awesome. Riker figured out what it was. He whistled the reply, which takes you all the way back to a flashback from the very first episode of The Next Generation, where Riker first meets Data.
Wow.
And Data can't whistle. So they go in, long story short, there's Data. But it's not Data, it's Data with a bunch of different consciousnesses in his head.
Oh.
So you never know who you're getting, first it's Data, then it's not Data, then it's this one, then it's this one, and it's a bunch of different, Noonien Singh and Lure and B4 and all the different iterations of that android.
Gotcha.
They managed to get Data, Raffi, and Worf out, and Riker gets captured. The Riker-Worf dynamic was phenomenal. Then they went to visit the Starfleet Museum, and it houses all these ships in these docks, and that's where all the big Easter eggs were. I mean, there were Easter eggs in the Daystrom thing and all that. They had the original Enterprise.
Oh,
the one that wasn't blown up.
Got it.
They had Scott Bakula's Enterprise.
Oh,
the Defiant, Voyager, which was a nice little thing there because Seven was in the on the bridge talking. And then they had the HMS Bounty. Do you know what the HMS Bounty was?
No.
That's the Klingon bird of prey from Star Trek: The Voyage Home.
Oh.
They took the whales back in.
Oh yeah, the whales.
Yeah. So I was a cool little thing, and then Geordi came over, and now Geordi's on the bridge, and he's unhappy, and his daughters are there, and it's all, there's a whole thing with that. But the show continues to be excellent week to week to week.
Great.
Yeah, if you're a big Star Trek,
catch up.
Yeah, if you're a Star Trek fan, you really don't need to watch the first 2 seasons. I said it before. You watch just this season, and if you watch The Next Generation, you'll get all the little callbacks and stuff.
Got it. It's been 30 years since I watched Next Generation, so it'll be tough pulling through, but I'll get there at some point once I watch the other 700 shows that I'm trying to keep up with. You
and me both. All right, I got some good Marvel news. Some good Marvel news this time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Betty Ross.
Yes.
Will be in Captain America New World Order. Liv Tyler is officially in the cast now
Interesting.
as Betty Ross.
Okay.
Very interesting, considering it's been 18 years, something like that, since she's
No, like we're at the 15th anniversary of the MCU.
15. Okay. Well,
So it's been like 14 since Hulk, I believe.
okay. But still, it's an interesting casting choice.
Yeah, it's interesting what they pick and choose to keep from that movie, everything except for Ed Norton, right?
Right. Yeah.
But at this point, I guess Ruffalo and Tyler, but so Ruffalo's probably going to show, is my guess, right?
Probably he's gonna have to if she's there, right?
I mean, they've written her out of continuity for 14 years, so maybe not.
So the first two of season 3.
He's excited you're spoiling more Picard for him every time, Frank, is what
Right.
Pete's saying.
That's all right. He'll catch up. He'll be fine. Secret Invasion.
Yes.
We got an official date now.
Oh, do we?
Actual firm official date, not just springtime, summertime. Wednesday, June 21st, Secret Invasion. Official.
That's late.
Yep. It is.
That was like when Loki was supposed to come out.
Yep. Now Loki's probably going to come after that, I would assume.
I think Luke Wilson, not Luke, the other one. Owen said September-ish.
Wow.
That's what he finished it off with that too, yeah.
As far as that goes, Owen Wilson, there's a big Deadpool 3 rumor going around that Mobius.
No,
Mobius, is the bad thing.
Oh, then it is Mobius.
Mobius, yes. Mobius is actually going to be in Deadpool 3. Now, the rumor that I read was that he's going to be chasing. So, Deadpool 3 is going to revolve around the multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
Wolverine's already dead. And we know that Wade Wilson has the time travel John from the last Deadpool movie, that he's going to be creating havoc in the multiverse, which fits and sounds like it could be awesome. So after the destruction of the Fox universe, Mobius is going to be hunting down Deadpool, who is causing havoc all throughout the multiverses.
Okay.
And they're going to do a lot of probably tongue-in-cheek 20th Century Fox jokes.
As long as we get Zazie Beetz back.
Yes.
And,
I don't know.
And James Brolin. Was it James Brolin? Whichever Brolin.
James Brolin.
Whichever Brolin it is.
James Brolin.
Isn't the dad James? No.
Josh.
See, it's not James. Gotcha.
It's Josh.
That's exciting, though. I mean, I also saw that Wolverine's supposedly going to pop up in Loki, which is why they keep pushing it now.
Yes.
As a prisoner of the TVA, but that's hearsay and.
Daredevil Born Again is going to take a lot of it is going to take place during the blip and going to show Kingpin's rise to power. I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, so I've spent some time back in the Daredevil comics again the last week or two.
Okay.
I made it through the entire original run of Daredevil, which ended in 98. That gave you the whole Born Again and all of that storyline. And just, it's crazy what they none of it's uplifting. It is just brutal. Every issue with what they do to Matt, nuts. And then it started getting then they released a new series under the Marvel Knights brand that bounced between Kevin Smith and Brian Bendis writing. So Kevin Smith wrote the first 6 issues.
Okay.
And introduced some stuff and made some crazy character choices that impacted the rest of the series. And then, it stays super dark and just everything is just how Matt isn't insane is amazing. And they continue to go back down that well. We're this is going to push him over the edge. We're really going to do it this time. And you're I don't know how it didn't happen.
So do you think they're going to do that with a Disney Plus show? Do you think they're going to stay that dark, or do you lighten it up a little bit?
If Matt's not there, because one of the underpinnings of the comic, the entire run is Kingpin knows that he's Daredevil, but doesn't do anything about it because they have a mutually assured destruction, right? So, he never steps out of his lane to do that, and they just have this mutual respect at some point, even though Matt still tries to stop things that he's doing and all of that. But
right,
it's a really interesting dynamic the way it plays out, and you got to think with these comics, right? This is over the span of that storyline took 25 years.
Whew.
plus to write. Like, and we worry about it with these movies, right? We're like, oh my god, their stories are moving so slow. It's like this isn't even, we're 15 years in. We said, right?
Yep.
So 15 times 12's what are we at? 100 and 150, 180 comics,
That's
right?
it.
Which is a lot, but not too many. And that's where we're at from all that. Hey, look, happy early birthday to my mom, since she missed it earlier
Happy early birthday.
when we said it, but she just dipped in. So yeah, it's how long it takes them to tell a story in a comic book is like years and years, because one movie is usually like 10 to 12 issues of a comic book.
Right.
So it's just, you get so much more time to pull the taffy that you
Right.
don't get in movies, which is why I think they're starting to struggle with it, because everybody needs something to happen every time. And that's how I feel about the new comics, because they're so expensive. Honestly, you can only buy like 3 comics for the price of going to see a movie,
I
if that.
Yeah, no, I remember. I told you before. I remember the last set of comic books I actually remember buying. It wasn't the Armageddon series. It was, and this is old. It was the Trial of the Flash.
That was in like early 80s.
Right. So
That was pre-Crisis, was the
right.
Trial of the Flash.
I never bought Crisis. I never bought anything after that, but I bought the Trial of the Flash. I thought it was fascinating. I was a huge fan of the Flash back then.
Yeah, and those were only 50 cents each.
Yep.
If that, 35 cents.
Yep.
Dom's wondering what he said. Some fans are tired of the blip and wish they would move on. What do you guys think?
What do you think? Well, I know. I saw that. I already have an answer.
So I want more of the blip, because I think they haven't dug into everything that really happened and how it changed the fabric of the earth, right? Like, and everywhere. It's a big deal when everybody disappears. We like touch on it for comedic effect in a couple things, and they dug in a little bit in WandaVision just when we did the flashbacks to what happened to the Rambo family. But I don't. I think they could dig into it so much more, and there's so much untapped story there that if again, going back to the comics, if there was something like that, we would have spent 3 years getting a spin-off series of what happened to this person during, or they would have all been gone for a full year of comic book storytelling.
That's 100% how I was thinking. And immediately I thought, no, I haven't seen enough about it. Like you said, they touch on it for comedic purposes, but we don't. I mean, there's so many levels of story that you can tell with this, from the richest people to the poorest people and people in the middle, and famous people, not famous people. There's so much material there that they can go and touch. And I mean, I think that's why they did it, is to give them something to kind of dig into as we go. I mean, look, we have a whole slew of characters that we haven't even met yet.
Yeah. So one of those runs in that Daredevil series I was reading back through was the introduction of Echo.
Okay.
So it's interesting now that I've read that to see how they twisted that for the Hawkeye show. And when they did, because they tried to make the story of spoilers for the comic. I'm sure everybody's seen the Hawkeye show at this point, but they tried to make the story of that Hawkeye killed her dad, right? And in the Hawkeye show. In the comics, it's blaming Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
But it's saying Kingpin said that it was my old nemesis Daredevil, and her dad has been supposed to be dead for 20 years.
Jesus.
And then she falls in love with Matt, because everybody falls in love with Matt in the comics.
Huh.
But like falls in love with Matt and then fights Daredevil and is trying to kill him. And he's like, I was in elementary school when your dad died. There's no way it was Daredevil. But that's the kind of way it goes back and forth in there. And that was over the span of, I don't know, 10 issues or something. They pulled it off.
Right.
6 or 7 issues, right?
What's an issue come out once a month? Roughly?
Usually, and not anymore. Now they're lucky to put one out every like 2 months. The production delays the industry is struggling badly right now.
Right.
But it was most of the time it was once a month. There was stretches where it was 2 times a month. Occasionally they do an event where it's weekly. Unless you got into the mess of the X-Men world.
Right.
That was 6 titles. So you had 1 to 2 every single week, and you had to buy them all if you wanted to get a single storyline. Oh, it was a mess.
Um, there is one other big Marvel thing that we didn't touch on yet. There was a huge firing.
We touched on that last week. That was breaking news.
Was the Victoria Alonso thing? We didn't
Yeah.
get into it though.
No, we talked about it a bit. It was breaking news during our show last week.
It was breaking news. So the official termination of her contract remains unclear. However, the decision was made by several people in departments at Disney. According to reports, she was basically moonlighting on the side and breaking agreements that she had made where she would not work for other companies, and she was doing visual effects for other countries, like Argo, I think was one of the ones that was mentioned. And she was warned about it, and she just didn't listen.
Huh.
And there are also reports that she was playing favorites, and that she was only giving work to certain people that she liked, and not this people, but she was only giving work here, and it affected everything as a whole in Disney. It affected everything.
Yeah, that explains why their quality's gone down so bad the last couple years.
Oh, it's so bad. And now she's also obviously suing for wrongful termination or whatever.
Yeah, she'll lose, but that's fine.
Probably.
I'm sure they paid her a nice buyout package,
Oh, probably. Let me get this here.
so they'll figure out a way to forfeit that. Will be their plan, I bet.
Joker 2. Joker 2's moving forward.
Sure, do exfoli, right?
Yeah, that's the word. So we got a first look here at Lady Gaga dressed as Harley Quinn.
Oh,
Pictures are starting to pop up online. I'm going to share it here for the people that are live.
I don't know why we never saw Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, so I don't know why we need to see.
Did I do that? Let me try and get
Whoa,
that.
whoa.
There we go. There we go. So you can see
Yeah, that's fine.
that a good look for her. For that a good look
For Harley? I
Yeah.
mean, no, because they're gonna make her is the regular shrink still dressing like they're. I don't know. It's fine.
So for the people,
it's a weird take on the whole mythos of the Joker and Harley Quinn, anyway. So
for the people that are just listening on a podcast, do a quick Google of Lady Gaga, Harley Quinn, and oops,
that's you. Look at that. No, it's not you anymore.
nope. Oh, okay, and there we go. Now we're back. Yeah, do a quick Google of Harley Quinn, Lady Gaga, and you'll get the pictures that we see.
Yeah, I'm not. Dom in chat. Joker 2 equals hard pass. I'm pretty close to that for 2. Like the first one, I finally went and saw, and I was like, I was depressed when I left the movie. I was like, there's nothing good about this movie.
No, and I'm not really excited to see this either. And again, I love the Joker as a character, but it was depressing as hell.
Yeah, but here's the thing that's happening with all these comic movies now, right? Like you love the Joker through 2000, right? Like you love like the old Joker.
Right.
Right. So do I, so do most people. What we're starting to see, and we're seeing it, with James Gunn in particular, like all of these new stories are like, hey, there was this one comic one time that did the character like this. I'm going to dig into that and make a movie about it. And that'll be how the mass public will now think of that character.
Right.
And it's like, but that's not good. That's
No.
not the character.
No.
But even the comics with Joker right now, there's technically 4 different Jokers because they're all from different realities, and they don't even. That's why sometimes he's, a crazy serial killer. Sometimes he's funny. Sometimes he's, super strong. It's really messy.
Whatever sells, right?
Yeah, it's
Joker as a character sells, so they're going to keep reinventing or just changing.
Yeah, but the people that aren't into that stuff, like into the comics, like don't get it.
Right.
Like why would they?
Right. So we had mentioned the Shazam thing before. Zachary Levi on Instagram basically said that they had an awesome end credit scene that was supposed to have Hawkman and Cyclone.
Yeah.
That got sacked last minute. Now, everybody was blaming James Gunn for that, but it really wasn't James Gunn. Apparently, it was Dwayne Johnson put his foot down and would not let those characters appear because at the time he still had sway.
Well, I'm sure when they were filming it, they would film it as a side project for Black Adam because they were, there was a time Shazam was coming out before Black Adam.
Correct.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
No.
As much disarray as Warner Brothers was in through this whole process with both of those movies, I don't know that it would have made Shazam any better. I also don't know that I agree with the take of the Justice Society is the happy, shiny government organization that
No.
works, right? And then Suicide Squad's the bad side of the government organization, and they're
Right.
all run by Amanda Waller. And
Mm,
then the Justice League's kind of their own thing, but they're the more popular one. Like, I don't understand it. Like, they need to tell me what their mythos is for all this stuff at some point, because it's just they're same thing we just said, right? Like a layperson doesn't understand why there's a Justice Society and a Justice League and the Suicide Squad, like, but they all work for the same person. What?
right.
But she's not the president. She's
No.
just some random person. Like, I don't get it.
Um.
And if they watch Peacemaker, she doesn't even have a job anymore. Why she's in charge of all these people?
Right. Makes no sense to me, like at all. And then we have the Zack Snyder thing that's coming. It's the first ever IMAX screening of Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Well, it's a 3-day convention where
Gonna be
one day they're going to do Man of Steel, one day they're going to, because God, you
it's
need a day to recover.
You need SnyderCon.
One day to do BVS, and then one day to do Justice League. That seems like a lot.
Let me tell you this. And again, I'm more of a fan of those movies than you are by leap years, I think. The extended cut of Batman vs Superman makes the movie make sense. Without those extra scenes, the movie is completely disjointed. As same thing with Justice League, the extended cut makes the movie actually make sense. Is it too long? Probably.
It's 4 hours.
Do you need that much slow motion? Probably not. But it actually makes sense though. Should it have been 2 movies? Probably.
But nothing happened in it.
No.
In the Justice League movie, nothing happened.
But Steppenwolf and Superman came back and it was black.
Yeah, sure. Because a movie and a half of him was plenty of time with Superman before we killed him off and then.
Oh, I don't agree with the whole.
Bring him back 3 hours later, right?
I definitely think they were just he was grabbing for the value of it.
He read 4 comic books ever, and he's like, that's it. That's what they all are.
Right. And that no, like, and we've talked about it extensively, and I'll sum it up like this and just say that a Superman dying should have happened 4, 5, 6 years down the road. Like, not in the second freaking movie that you have him.
No. Because then there's no stakes. Then you're like, oh, well, we know you're going to bring him back. It's fine.
Exactly.
And you leave him for a movie or two, not for like an hour and a half or however long it was.
Right. You have to build up the suspense of that.
Yeah. So look, and Snyder has his very passionate fans that are some of the most toxic people on the internet. And I think that's where DC needs to kind of put their foot down with him and be like, no, he's not, because now all the rumors are he's also going to announce that he's doing the Snyderverse on Netflix or this. Let's give him some comic books. Let somebody write a comic book for him. Well, look, the way Zaslav's selling off the rights to all WB properties, I mean, there's an entire animated Batman universe going to be on Amazon in a year.
That's true.
Because they already picked up that Cape Crusader for a second season, even. Now, since we are on DC, though, hey, are you caught up? Did you watch Superman and Lois in your free time?
Not yet.
Did you watch Gotham Knights? We're 2 episodes in.
Never watching Gotham Knights. I can assure you of that now.
It's so awful, though. I really wish you would.
I am building up. I'm building up Superman and Lois, and I'm building up the Flash.
No.
Well, the Flash I'll grab because I'm gonna have a lot of time in between those episodes. I'm waiting on Superman and Lois until Mandalorian's over. So then I have something that I
It's a
can
long
watch.
time.
We're halfway there.
It's a long time.
Yeah, but there's only
Uh,
gonna be like 3 more episodes of Superman and Lois out before they go put that on hiatus.
That's true. Superman and Lois is fine so far.
That's what you said, sort
It's the first episode was fine. The second episode
of.
is going back to all sorts of shitty writing. It's I think they're bringing some people from Gotham over. Gotham Knights. I think they said, "Hey, why don't you come and help us out on Superman and Lois?"
Yes, because we were
Is,
doing so good.
is where we started on the second one here. I mean, look, they're all turning into shows where like, hey, remember what we said 5 minutes ago? Because we don't. So here's something completely different now. They're all getting really bad with that. Gotham Knights actually is a little better the second episode than the first. It's
Yeah,
still awful, but it's a
no
little
thanks.
better than it was. I am excited, as Charles points out, that Titans is coming back in April. I think it's the 13th. It's coming back. I am stoked for that because I want to see where they wrap that storyline up and then free up those actors to do other things within hopefully some comic book universe.
Um, before we move on to The Mandalorian, I did see a snippet of an interview with Brendan Fraser on Howard Stern talking about Batgirl.
Mm.
It's pretty interesting. Like he basically just explained his character's backstory, and I actually was like, "God damn, I wanted to see that now."
So
Like,
normal Fire is it different than the regular Firefly backstory?
he is a former military,
Okay,
down on his luck, fed up with the system, and just kind of goes berserk. Basically, kind of
that is different then. Okay,
little, yeah. And he said, and because Howard Stern was like, "So did you shoot any of the movie?" He's like, "Shut the whole movie, like the whole thing." Stern's like, "Where is it?" He's like, "I don't know."
they burned it. They deleted it all.
It's not there. That's in a vault. They didn't delete that shit.
No, so I mean they wiped the director's hard drives even.
I think they wiped it, but I think there's a copy of it somewhere. There's no way you just nuke that kind of no way.
Maybe.
No way. All right. Now as always, we close out for the next handful of episodes or weeks with The Mandalorian.
Before we get there, Charles did call something out that's of interest to you, I'm sure.
Yes, actually.
Lance Reddick will still be used in Destiny 2.
Yes. So Bungie, as we said last week, Lance Reddick passed away. We talked about him for a little bit. And he has still a whole bunch of storyline going in that Destiny world that Bungie has recorded stuff for him for future stuff, because they don't all just do it like the day it comes out, even though that's how it feels sometimes when you play the game. They have stuff. They have said that they have a lot more Lance Reddick stuff coming, and it was really weird. Spoilers for anybody that does play Destiny. I'm going to ruin a huge plot point from last week, and if you haven't played it by now, then you're shit out of luck.
So mute for 15 seconds.
Yeah, a little longer. In the Destiny game, they killed off a major character on Tuesday with their reset. Every reset is new weekly content, basically. And they killed off a monster, huge character in the story. And it just was a weird timing kind of a thing with Lance having passed literally days before that. His character is kind of given this little eulogy for this in-game character that passed away. And it was just, and people were trying to shit on Bungie for it. And it's like, you can't predict something like this is going to happen, and you can't stop that in your story. It's a video game going forward.
Right.
It's just really bad timing overall.
Because it's everything they're doing from that standpoint has been done for a year and a half, 2 years.
Well, yeah, you hope, but yeah.
No, just that's just from listening to a lot of people that talk about the voice, the video game stuff. Like that's all. It's not quick to turn that around and program all that. So the voices are done.
No, and they
years in advance usually.
They run in 3-month increment as what they call a season. So every 3 months they bring out new content, but there's tons of dialogue,
right,
that's recorded for each season, because each week gives you new stuff.
And they can run him through the Luke Skywalker.
They absolutely can if his estate is okay with that. But now I should get a Mandalorian sound.
Speaking of Luke Skywalker, John.
Yeah, that was good. I should get a Mandalorian soundbite.
Yeah.
Think we get in trouble for that?
Yes.
We'll see. I'll keep it short. What did you think of the last episode?
It's fine. It's filler.
A lot of filler.
It was a filler episode where I guess we are supposed to assume that Bo-Katan's getting indoctrinated into this group and buying in, as opposed to just being the heroic type that Bo-Katan is.
I don't think she's being. I don't think she's buying into it.
Um, you know, but then when she has the moment with the armor later on, where she's getting the mythosaur and asking more about those things, like do we find out more about who the armor is supposed to actually be at some point because of this? We get that the Mandalorians have kids, which is interesting. I hadn't thought of that for some reason.
Do they bang with their helmets on?
Well, I would assume so. But then where's the
I,
and
I,
then where do they where's the mom? Is the mom somewhere too, or no, or what happened there? There's a bunch of backstory there.
yep.
How do you make a giant uh, bird into a Mandalorian? That's weird.
What about the Grogu thing?
Which getting the new armor for Grogu?
Well, the
The-
training session.
I mean, it was weird,
It was.
right? Like it's all weird. Where
Well,
he's like, "You're gonna be a Mandalorian." I'm like, but he can't because I feel like you guys aren't that inclusive of a group.
right. And you kind of knew that he was going to win in the end of that little training session.
Right. Well, yeah. Look, there was no stakes.
No.
It's also a Star Wars show, so there's like very little stakes.
I liked the little chess piece that she made him. That was cute.
To go with his chainmail, that they were like, "Hey, remember he's wearing chainmail? Look, here it is under his robe. Don't forget."
Right. But then there was the big redemption arc. The big redemption for Ahmad Best.
There was that Grogu arc when the escape. I already forgot about it because it was like in there and it didn't make sense with the rest of the story they were telling. Really, it was weird timing to throw in all that backstory.
Um, it
Is what I thought. Like I don't know that it tracked with this part of the story as to why all of a sudden we're talking.
Yeah, but look, if you go back and you look at the way that they do episodes, sometimes they throw shit in that does not that's completely out of left field. The Book of Boba Fett threw in a whole half of whole chunk of Mandalorian stuff that
Yeah,
so
yeah.
out of place.
It's I thought it was cool, right? So as you
Yeah,
said,
that was
we
great.
have all these extra Jedi that were I guess not escorting Grogu, but just all were trying to escape, and Grogu just happened to be the only one that could escape.
Well, yeah, because they had a little ball.
Yeah. And then he gets there, and there's even more Jedi was waiting for those Jedi to escape.
Right.
It's what is weird is when we first heard it, Order 66 killed all the Jedi,
Yes.
and now the more they tell the stories, they're like, well, it killed like some of them, but there's a lot that are still around.
Right. And you can play that off and say that those that stayed around abandoned the force and stopped being Jedi and went into hiding. I was reading that originally they were going to give Ahmad's Jedi a purple lightsaber, but then they said no because then everybody would confuse it with Mace Windu. And
I think it's the recasting Mace Windu.
you think so?
Yeah, look, and if for anybody that doesn't know, the actor that played the Jedi that got Grogu away was the actor that played Jar Jar Binks in the prequels.
Right. And
Um,
I thought it was phenomenal that they gave him this opportunity to have this moment because of all the hatred that he got for playing one of the best characters Star Wars ever had.
yes. Um, redeemed on the Clone Wars TV show, by the way. Just let me throw that out there. Jar Jar on the Clone Wars TV show was actually great,
Look, if
and
it
the
wasn't,
evolution they gave to that character was even better.
if it wasn't for Jar Jar, there would be no Galactic Empire. Just saying, best character ever.
Sure, sure. I'll
Because
go.
without that, there's no Darth Vader. Boom, best character ever.
Yeah, but depends on how much more they destroy Darth Vader now. As bad as he was in what was our show? Obi-Wan.
Great Obi-Wan, stop it.
Oh, he was so awful. and Obi-Wan, and we're going to continue to humanize him and try and make him into a good guy this whole stretch instead of like the most bad mother effer in the galaxy, which is what we really needed to lean in on him and just let him be evil. It's such a more interesting story when you actually have somebody that's actually evil as your bad guy.
Yes, true. I get it. I mean, I enjoyed the episode, but it definitely was a little long in the tooth and a little filler. Long enough that we lost viewers. Pete knows I'm trolling. I love Jar Jar.
I know you do.
I do.
Everything about the prequels is your favorite.
I actually appreciate the
Look, as the guy that shits on everything, I'm actually being honest that I really like Jar Jar's story arcs in Clone Wars.
No, and I did too. and I appreciate the Phantom Menace, and I appreciate Revenge of the Sith more today than I did then. The Clone Wars is still dog shit, but I appreciate it.
That's my favorite one of the three.
Oh no. But there's more stuff that they cut out of it that you keep seeing now that pops up that actually would have made it a little bit of a better movie. But that's another road we can go down another time, because I actually want to go watch wrestling tonight.
Oh, you should.
It's a week until WrestleMania. Before we go, for those of you in the Philadelphia area, April 11th, April 25th, and May 9th are Hatfield Dollar Dog Nights, boiled in chemical-free water.
Those are Tuesdays, right?
I don't know. I'm just
What
looking.
days? April 11th. Got it.
April 11th and 25th. Are they
Okay.
two? And May 9th.
Got it. Okay.
They are Hatfield Dollar Dog Nights.
Oh, I will be. You can go Monday that whole week because I will be out of the country the last week in April. So
Ooh, where you
enjoy
going?
that.
Where you going? Thank you, Dom.
Akmel?
Jack actually sent me a picture of the Krazzle, and I actually remember what it was now because I did see the Lego movie.
The Craggle.
I did see the Lego movie.
But before we go any farther down those rabbit holes, thanks everybody for finding the Geek Spot with us again. You can check me out Friday night at Wilson's Pub in Feasterville. If you're looking for something to do, I'll be there from 8 to 11. Great prices. It's a cheap night out.
It really is.
And it's a cool hang. So stop and do that. You can, always find us online. Hit up the podcast. If you missed any parts, drop us that 5-star rating. Tell a friend. And we'll see you all next time.
All right, man. Thanks. Bye.